Hey, good Monday afternoon, everybody. Mark again here, WeatherMan Plus. I'm going to give you the latest updates on what's going on in the tropics and what could potentially be around the corner right before we go into this break. It's starting to look very concerning. Now, we still have PTC 9 in the Gulf. It is going to be a tropical storm. In fact, I believe it's going to be a high-end tropical storm right on the edge of being right around the corner from even a low-grade hurricane. Plus, what's going on over here with Franklin, because now the Euro is seeing that after it curves away from Dominican Republic and Haiti, a lot of bad impacts, a lot of bad flooding, that it could miss that trough and get real close towards the coast of the U.S. and become a potential problem. If that cold front does not push it away, it will pull it in on the high ridge of the cold front. Plus, Canadian is still seeing it as all this favorable environment, all this group of thunderstorms, and all this lift moves to the west of the Caribbean, that it still has a chance for another one to spit out towards the east coast, right out the Gulf. And GFS, which is GFS anyway, it is seeing another chance for something to still come into our Gulf right before we go into this break. And as we take a closer look at what's going on with PTC 9, you can see it has all the factors. Right now is very low wind shear, very warm sea surface temperatures, and it is getting a lot of dew points in the atmosphere. It's up in the 70s, so there's a lot of particulates in the atmosphere. Right now, it is at 34 miles per hour winds, and it is moving west at 18 miles per hour. So the best case scenario, that is bringing much needed rainfall that's coming towards Texas, and it's going to be a quick mover. It's going to be in and out. So it is going to drop the rainfall. It's going to bring y'all some flooding, but you do need the rainfall. But the best part is it's going to be in and out very fast. But before we get into that, let's go into some information that I want to show you. That's where you can see exactly what's going on and what I see happening potentially around the corner. If you've never been here before, make sure you subscribe. I am all year long. So as we take a look at the update and what the model data is showing us, you can see with 12Z with the Euro, that it barely even brings it to a tropical depression. That's why I'm not following what the Euro is saying to heart too much. Plus what's going on with Franklin, it barely gives it any strength as it goes over Dominican Republic and Haiti, weakens down greatly, almost to nothing, then comes back later after that, becomes a tropical depression, then finally a tropical storm, and maybe even a hurricane after that. Showing that if it don't go into the trough, it will go west and go very close to the U.S. coast. And if it goes a little bit further to the west, they could be having a potential hurricane problem on their door. Now, this is still 7 to 8 days away, and there is a turn that's anticipated, but that far really is not anticipated. So take this with a grain of salt, because Euro is not showing what National Hurricane Center is showing for this forecast. And you can see this here. They have it remaining a tropical storm, not weakening down to nothing, and then strengthening back up to a tropical storm, then a hurricane, and doing a curved layer. So Bermuda, we might have to be on the lookout for them as well. Now, the one concerning thing is the Canadian. The Canadian has always been pretty foretold on what's been going on with these waves so far, and it's in agreement with the now. So if you take a look at PTC 9, it shows it strengthening up to a strong tropical depression, even a weak tropical storm right there as it goes lower in Texas, which is where it's originally going to go. You can see also for Franklin, it does strengthen up, go over Dominican Republic and Haiti, does not weaken down to nothing, and it goes right between the islands and stays strong right to a hurricane, agreeing that it will do a little bit of a westward turn, but not become a big problem. However, we do need to watch out for Bahamas. That could raise some rain and some wind issues for y'all as well. It's a little bit down the road. And you can check all the past updates with the Canadian. It's always show that this was going to be a favorable environment moving to the west, and it was going to keep spitting out cyclones all the way through. And you can see after it moves through, it goes towards the Gulf, spits out another cyclone going right across Florida, and then it keeps going into the Gulf where it's going to spit up another potential one as we go towards the end of August, as we begin our break. Then you have the GFS, which don't say much. I know its history's been pretty awful this year, but it's just doing a total out of left field after Franklin passes by, does a sharper turn away from the coast. It just brings a wave right to the west, going straight towards the Bahamas, the U.S., straight into the Gulf. I mean, all the way from that far away, head straight for the Gulf. Now, when we look at the ensemble members according to the Euro, You can see how it favors Franklin moving away, but it also favors a couple chances for a wave to form up and go into the Gulf and go along the East Coast also. So it sees kind of what the Canadian is saying as well. And that's a little too much of groupings agreeing over here and a big grouping agreeing over here. What could still break off as this favorable environment continues to move to the west. And if you keep going down the road, it even agrees with GFS that something could come shoot out like a shooting star from the MDR from the Caribbean. Also, when you look at the ensemble members of the GPS, you can see it also agrees that it could go over there with Franklin and still something could still form up like the Canadian is showing in our Gulf of Mexico right after that and go out to the east, northeast, guys. So it is very concerning. Euro sees potential growth here and Canadian sees it and the ensemble members of the GFS sees it going in that direction. Now, when I bring out the ensemble members and see what's going on with this shooting star, it looks a little concerning, but the majority of them says this will not happen. Now, if you look at them, you can see there's a few of them that shows it does go right towards Bahamas, right towards the southeast. There's a few of them that is showing that, and that's a fact. But it's only like 4 or 5 of them that is showing that. 4 or 5 is showing that it could actually take that path, guys. So I really think that this is going to curve further into the Atlantic rather than come into the U.S. if it does still come in. Now, we'll update you in a second. I want to show you something real quick about PTC 9. Now, if you look right here on the latest hurricane panel, you'll see that right here on sea surface temperatures, as the wave, as the storm system gets closer towards these warmer sea surface temperatures, that it actually strengthens up for a quick hot minute right before landfall. So if it stays nice and slow or slows down just a little bit in that last click, it really was strengthened up from a tropical storm to maybe even a low-grade hurricane. It has all this precipitation coming right across Texas, still bringing the same impacts. It's still going to be in and out real fast. But you can see here from your 10-meter wind speed that as it reaches from the edge, has it down to a 55 miles per hour winds, just sustained winds. It's your 10-meter winds. This is a strong tropical storm. As it reaches that strong sea surface temperatures at the last second, it strengthens up quickly down to a 61 now, which is not 74. It's not a low-grade hurricane. What I'm saying is if this slows down just a little bit more, it has a lot of potential to all of a sudden rapid intensify. The shear is very low. The moisture is in the atmosphere. And the sea surface temperatures is really strong right in that pocket. And there is a little sliver of deep ocean heat content right there. So I think in that last couple of hours, it has a minute to rapid intensify and maybe get an edge of a low-grade hurricane, maybe get up to 70 before it comes on land, brings y'all 40, 50 miles per hour wind gusts with it as it goes across as a quick mover. Now, as of right now, it's still PTC 9. It's still expected to be a tropical storm right before landfall. But you see they still have their tropical storm watches and tropical storm warnings out already because these impacts, these tropical storm impacts will be within 24 hours. But you can see also just in the next 24 hours, checking with HRRR, because HRRR is good once it's on land. I can show you a few more as well. In the next 24 hours, you're going to start getting those 50 miles per hour wind gusts coming across with little pockets further south that would be in the 60s. At the same time, right on the edge, right before that landfall, it gets into 71. So I really think it does have a chance to start strengthening up, guys, as it goes right into Mexico. You can see this also with the NAM. The NAM takes it even more ridiculous. The NAM is not for sure a tropical model. The NAM takes it to where you have an 80 plus miles per hour wind gust before it comes on land. It is definitely turning it into the high 70 sustained winds. It will make it a low-grade hurricane as it comes on land. However, when you check out with the other models, you check and see what the data is, compare them. You can see with the Icon, it takes it weaker. You can see with the Euro, it takes it weaker. You can see with the GFS, it takes it about the same as you see with the HRRR. So GFS is actually being more realistic than the Euro is at this point. Matter of fact, the latest update with National Hurricane Center on your rainfall is just like what you can see with HRRR. So we're expecting 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in the light green, 2 to 4 inches in all of this dark green, and a real hot spot right there of possible 4 to 6 inches and heavier in Mexico. That's always been the trend. It'll be heavier as it goes into Mexico. But there is up to 3 feet storm surge that is expected all the way across the Gulf Coast, all the way from Sargent all the way down Texas to the border of Mexico, and I'm sure it's even further south. So it's always right there, 1 to 3 feet of storm surge expected to come inland. So just be aware of that as well. Now this is combined for 2 days, starting late tonight, overnight until tomorrow. So for today, this is your cities at risk for chances for tornadoes on this system. And for tomorrow, you still have a chance for it on Utah as all this precip goes around this high pressure once again. And you see how it has grown a little bit for Texas. So for tomorrow, here's your cities at risk for chances for tornadoes. That includes Utah. But you can see after we deal with all this heat, the high pressure moves to the west, just like I showed y'all. All this precip is going to eventually start coming in towards Texas. And you can see this with multiple models, guys. So as you check with the Canadian, goes up 10 days as well. Look, precip coming in Texas. You check with even GFS, latest run going to just the next 10 days, agreeing that precip is coming into Texas. So all the models are in agreement that Texas is going to start getting more rainfall. It's not going to stay so dry. Now, I believe that what a Canadian is showing is very concerning, that what's going to happen possibly as this gets into the Gulf could spit something. The Ensemble members is agreeing that has good potential to form some surface low pressure as it goes across Florida. We'll keep you updated. I believe Franklin will curve to the west, but I think it'll get pulled as it goes out, strengthens up, and tightens up around that high pressure out into the Atlantic and goes away. And the trough is going to push it as well. I do believe that. As far as what GFS is seeing, as this little late night runner coming in the first week of September, coming all the way to the Gulf. I do not believe that. I believe we will be on that break. You can see here as you go for the next 5 days, according to the Euro, from the 21st all the way to the 26th, that we do have this favorable environment in this region, also all the way up here towards Texas. We do have favorable environment. That's why we're having systems right now. But as you go from the 26th towards the end of the month, you can see that we have favorable environment, but it's very much weaker than what we have now. And the stronger favorable environment is going to stay way out here into the Atlantic. So I really believe that that low runner is going to turn back north. I don't think that's going to come all the way in. And you can see we're still going on our break after this as we go from the end of August all the way to September 5th when GFS sees that low runner. We're going to be in unfavorable environment, guys. Matter of fact, you can see the update as we go towards the end of August. The Euro is seeing the neutral to the unfavorable environment starting to sneak in already going into our Caribbean and our Gulf. It is going to hang around all the way to the 10th of September, going on a nice long break after we deal with these waves and what it does potentially in the Gulf. We still got to watch out for that. It's not quite over yet. But after that, then we have some growth potentially while we get another unfavorable environment, but still showing as we go into October, it's going to start growing, so we do need to watch it again later. But after we deal with what's going on in the Gulf, after Harold passes through Texas, we need to make sure this favorable environment moves away, and then this unfavorable environment swishes on in from the west, and it will cut off any tropical activity all the way to September 10th. And if you take a look, you can see actually it's going right below San Antonio. Little bit of popcorn storms right below Houston. It's really going few and far between the further you go from the surface low. It's not quite reaching to y'all on any rainfall. San Antonio has a better chance than Houston or anybody further to the north, Austin, any of y'all. So just be aware it is going to be a more southern storm, but there is potentially something coming after this. But thank you so much for your time. God bless you and your families. I have it zoomed in a little bit where you can see a little bit better of what's going on with these storms as it comes in. I really believe if anything, you definitely could be dealing with a high-end tropical storm. That definitely seems like the way to go from what I can see with the data, because you do have some strong sea surface temperatures right before landfall. And if it don't zip through that and it goes through that a little bit slower, it could actually tune in and be a little bit stronger. The impacts pretty much are going to be set to what it is. It just could be a little bit stronger winds. That's about it. Still going to be a fast mover and bring you the rainfall. So I hope you do need it. I know Texas, y'all do need it. I hope the rest of y'all would be getting it. After this weekend, y'all be getting something. So I will keep you updated. Now today, I'd like to go this afternoon and go out with a bang. I like to praise our God, our Father, on how glorious He is, because He gets talked bad about so many times from so many people. They just need to sit still and just look around and just see all the marvelous things He does. It's miracles everywhere. Amen. So I'm going to do Psalm 145 all the way from 1 to 13. I will extol thee, my God, O King, and I will bless thy name forever and ever. Every day will I bless thee, and I will praise thy name forever and ever. Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable. One generation shall praise thy work to another, and shall declare thy mighty acts. I will speak of the glorious honor of thy majesty, and of thy wondrous works. And men shall speak of the might of thy terrible acts, and I will declare thy greatness. They shall abundantly utter the memory of thy great goodness, and shall sing of thy righteousness. The Lord is gracious, and full of compassion, slow to anger, and of great mercy. The Lord is good to all, and his tender mercies are over all his works. All thy works shall praise thee, O Lord, and thy saints shall bless thee. They shall speak of the glory of thy kingdom, and talk of thy power, to make known to the sons of men his mighty acts, and the glorious majesty of his kingdom. Thy kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations. Amen. Thank you for your time once again. I hope you have a very blessed night tonight. I will see you in the morning. All glory always goes to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I hope he blesses you this evening. And if you never met him or searched for him in your life, I pray very heartily that you search for him. Search with all your heart. You will see him. You will find him. If you knock, the door will be open. Amen. Hallelujah. Have a great night, everybody. If you want to follow me on other platforms, the links are in the description.